The chance to shape your future is here. Learn and connect with exciting new opportunities. Are you ready for the next step?
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to hand over to Will Redway, who's leading on this session for you this morning.
Thank you, Louise. Let me get my screen ready to share. Here we go. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk to you about i3P. This is a program of works that is hosted by the KTN, and I am the senior lead for i3P. Oops. It was established back in 2016 off the back of a very successful program of works at Crossrail. So Crossrail was the first infrastructure industry major project that actually used an innovation program that was funded by the supply chain and co-funded by the client organization to create a collaborative innovation group. And the industry responded so well to this collaborative piece of work that it wanted to carry on. So the KTN facilitates the secretariat and the management of i3P, and it taps into its broad network of knowledge experts across multiple industries to support the infrastructure and construction industry to deliver innovation, to transform and raise the bar for the construction and infrastructure industry. So some facts and figures. As mentioned, it started its life off the back of the Crossrail Innovate 18 program. We have 8 infrastructure client members and growing. We have 19 supply chain members and growing. Interestingly, we have over 2,800 members subscribed to our existing portal. We have a new portal coming out soon. Over 900 innovations have been shared. But we have also funded from i3P funds over £1 million worth of Spark or seed projects to do proof of concepts to scale. Following that, we've also over £5 million worth has been secured of ICF Transforming Construction funds from our member organizations. So we've got a lot of experience in developing ideas and scaling them up and growing them up, but very specifically around the construction industry. These are some of our members, clients and supply chain. Hopefully there are some names there that you recognize. But as you can see, we've got government representation as well as people like the Environment Agency, and some of the biggest players in the construction and infrastructure field. Our model is called the i3P Way, and it is a client-led, supply chain-fed model. By that we mean that the client organizations are the ones which have the money, but also the challenges. They are trying to solve certain specific challenges around the delivery of major infrastructure projects. And the supply chain are there to support the clients in finding the best possible solutions for those challenges. And the supply chain has access to a very broad network of supply chain, SMEs, startups, as well as being more agile to be able to respond to those challenges. So the i3P Way is our model. The top is our vision and our strategy. The bottom bit is very much about the strategic priority themes and the industry changed elements. And you combine them together to create our delivery capability, which is what i3P does. i3P delivers from the challenges and the strategy to create tangible outputs, which I will touch on shortly. So the membership model is run through three boards. We have the strategic board, which is where we have strategic leadership and alignment from government and the Construction Leadership Council. The DLG is the delivery group. So these are the senior representatives of our client members and our supply chain members who support us in delivering actual projects of tangible value to the industry. And then lastly is the forum, which is a senior representation from all of our I3P members and industry organizations to discuss the industry landscape, propose future areas of work, and identify certain challenges, as well as flagging up opportunities for I3P to expand and explore. So there are 4 categories. The client and supply chain investor categories are the paid for memberships. And then launching on the 4th of February, we will be launching our new operating model on which this is based, where the supply chain and our associate members will be able to join to be part of the conversation. So you will have access to the forum, our new platform, our portal, and access to the client and the supply chain who are supporting I3P. So it's a very exciting change to our operating model. So the value of membership, we polled our clients and our supply chain membership, and the value of membership they derive is scale. You know, we are able to take ideas and opportunities and grow them, specifically in the infrastructure and construction environment. And this is something that's always been very challenging in our industry. Breadth or diversity of ideas it's about tapping into more than just construction solutions. Let's look at the nuclear industry. Let's look at chemistry, mathematics, materials. What can we do differently to add more value to the work that we do in construction and the infrastructure sector? And then lastly, it's all about collaboration. Generally, our supply chain are very competitive because they are all bidding for work to work on these major infrastructure projects. But how can we put aside our badges and put on the I3P badge to work collaboratively to solve industry and common problems around the whole industry? And that's very much what I3P is about. It's about wearing the I3P badge, which means you are wearing a different uniform, that you are unified in trying to solve common problems. So the landscape, you may or may not be aware of the Construction Leadership Council or how the industry leadership is split, but we have the Construction Leadership Council, BAYS, the IPA, who are government bodies who push policy and aspirations and strategy for the wider industry, infrastructure industry. And there are a lot of sub-bodies within that which support the industry leadership, like the Infrastructure Client Group, the Green Construction Board, the Construction Innovation Hub, and so on and so forth. So the I3P ecosystem sits and supports all of these leadership teams, especially around some of our themes. So the industrialization of our supply chain, the making our clients more capable in terms of digital optimization and improving project delivery, healthy, safe and well, health and safety, but it's also about mental health and physical health, as well as making sure that our people go home safe at night after their shifts. And then zero carbon world, very topical at the moment. How do we reduce embodied carbon? Things like concrete and steel, very high carbon elements, but also logistics. How do we reduce our carbon? And then at the core of this is where I3P steps in. We deliver projects, we create knowledge, we run events, and industry bodies, as well as our SME program and our KTN Innovation Exchange program, all feeds into this. And we share with UKRI and the Construction Innovation Hub all the outputs of all of this. So it creates this body of knowledge that the whole of the industry can tap into and reapply. And obviously we work in our ecosystem, we have our supply chain clients and academia. So we're very well placed to influence and be influenced across the industry. A slightly different way of looking at it is you have I3P at the middle. Doesn't mean that it's the core, the most important, but it shows that we have ties into all these very important professional bodies and industry bodies and leadership, which means that we can identify where we have an opportunity to solve problems, but also give some opportunities for the supply chain and academia to do research and to add value to the infrastructure industry. We have also recently been approached by the Welsh government to explore creating an I3P for Wales. Now, it's not specifically going to be a separate entity of I3P. It'll be part of I3P as a whole, but very much focusing on the Welsh infrastructure companies, the Welsh SMEs and the Welsh ecosystem. And so far, the response has been absolutely positive. And furthermore, because I3P already exists as a body, we've done all the pre-work so that the application of this capability exists already. I have a colleague, Philip Pittman, who may want to add a few words, but if not, I'll carry on.
Happy to, Will. Yeah. So, I mean, Wales has a number of bespoke and specific needs at the moment that we need to address and align to meet our strategic aspirations, which are fundamentally to drive a Wales for all. We have an opportunity to enhance the collaboration capability of our existing I3P with the fantastic and capable Welsh supply chain. It's going to help us drive opportunity for our supply chain to expand their horizons over the borders and supporting industry and client challenges from around the UK. But it's also going to bring that wider supply chain to help support our Welsh challenges. It's also a fantastic opportunity to leverage that existing work that's already been undertaken by the rest of the I3P, whilst giving us a huge opportunity to address some very specific Welsh challenges with that wider forum as well. Thanks, Will. Thanks,
Phil. So as you can see, the impact of I3P is starting to spread and being understood by a broad community of professionals in this industry. So I mentioned previously we have 4 strategic priority themes: healthy, safe and well, zero carbon world, demand side capable clients, and supply side industrialize. These are extracts from the Construction Leadership Council and government targets. We have already done a lot of work towards zero carbon world. We are now in the process. We've done the discovery phase. We're finalizing the development stage, and then what we are now trying to do is take it to scale, because the impact of taking some of these opportunities to scale could be massive, not just for the industry, but for UK as a whole. One of the outputs of the Zero Carbon World was we uncovered 154 potential initiatives, which were split into 22 different clusters or themes. And then within those clusters, there were 14 thematic groups identified. So it shows you the maturity of what the I3P membership are already able to do is create all this common interest and common problem solving through collaborative workshops. And this has been very much client-led. So all of these initiatives have been these projects have been client-led, and the supply chain from across a very broad network outside and in of the construction and supply chain and infrastructure industry have all stepped up to support finding ways of improving our carbon efficiencies. And these are some of the extracts of these target teams. Obviously, these are opportunities. What I want to really focus on is these value of opportunities identified for the UK. So these are opportunities that haven't been realized yet. There will be some investment required from the clients to make this work. But the potential solutions, the potential opportunities for just taking carbon alone is over £2.5 billion worth to the construction industry and over £500 million worth to the infrastructure industry alone. So you can imagine if the clients invest, and we will need the support of the supply chain to make this work, the impact for the industry is absolutely enormous. But the impact for UK PLC is also enormous. As well as touching on things like digital optimization. Some of the opportunities are eye-wateringly high, but these are just forecasts. We haven't translated any of these opportunities yet. As you can see, nearly 200 opportunities have been identified so far. So it's a question of choosing the biggest bang for buck to make sure that we get the most amount of opportunity. So what I'm trying to say by this slide is I3P is doing stuff. We've got teeth now. We are delivering change, and what we need the support from the best of the best in and out of our industry to make these changes happen. I won't dwell too much on this, but this is just the approach on how we go about delivering the program. I'm not going to bore you in terms of program delivery, but it's how we're going to split up the work streams to allow the implementation of innovation. We can share these slides broadly in due course. The next strategic priority theme is supply side industrialize. So this is about how do we industrialize the construction process, whether it's modern methods of construction, offsite manufacturing, or digital optimization, or asset management. Again, these have been led by client organizations. In this instance, HS2 are taking the major lead on this. And we've already identified opportunities of between 100 to 300 million pounds worth of benefits. I mean, these figures are huge, but this is because this has never been done before at this scale. Innovation and improvement and optimization of construction and infrastructure projects has never really been explored. And this is what i3P is doing. It's really pushing the boundaries of changing how we work as an industry. And because it's never really been done before, the returns can be absolutely significant if we're able to translate those opportunities. Lastly, Healthy, Safe and Well. This is going to be led by EDF Energy. We are still developing the targets of what we're going to be working on that, but it'll cover psychological health, mental health, physical well-being. How do we improve? How do we use technology potentially to track and monitor with COVID now, remote working, monitoring, and all these sort of technologies are going to be absolutely critical for making sure that our people are well. We work in a dangerous industry, so we need to mitigate that risk. So this is going to be a very interesting project for us to work on. And similarly, the demand side capable client is currently being defined, but it aligns with the Project 13 methodology that's been launched a few years ago. If you do not know what the Project 13 framework is, it's available on the ICE, the Institute of Civil Engineers. There is a white paper of how Project 13 works, and we will be aligning the Project 13 methodology to how we deliver our projects moving forwards. So joining all those things together, so through the collaborative innovation process, so target teams, as I mentioned, the strategic priority themes, the industry needs, and having clear governance and funding process allows us to raise the bar for the industry and create tangible change and create knowledge for our industry to then reapply that knowledge and improve the quality of the work that we do. We also have a dedicated SME program, and this SME program has already dozens of SMEs, or actually I think we've got nearly 100 SMEs on there now, who are all aligned with our industry, who are all aligned with what we do, how we work. And with the SME program, it really allows to stimulate how we work as an industry. It's a bit of a tail wagging the dog situation, because we have all these agile, capable, really, really innovative companies telling us this is how we should be doing things. And what we're hoping to do as i3P is to join those really, really clever startups and small businesses to stimulate change for the more cumbersome, large tier one supply chain in which where we work most of the time. So this is really exciting, and it gives us an opportunity to give some airtime to some companies that would normally not have the opportunity to work on a major infrastructure project and rely on being vicariously pulled through the supply chain. So this is a fantastic way of accelerating that opportunity. We've also launched and we're funding a collaborative venturing investment program. So one of our, one of Philip's colleagues from Costain is running on this project, and it's about how we can find and connect startups to capital. How can i3P find the best possible startup and provider for a particular problem, and how can we support it's with investors who are agnostic to the client or the supply chain. They just want to get that return on investment, and this gives i3P that support that we're going to get some fantastic financial support for some of the best innovators in this space, and we therefore get the best solutions for our clients, and therefore our supply chain also learns what good looks like, and we can raise that bar continuously to deliver the best possible solution. So we've never done this before. We've always relied on the government funding and grants to stimulate opportunities. So this venture-backed approach, exploration, I mean, this is completely new to us, could be a very exciting time to really stimulate change in our industry. And some of the SMEs that we've engaged with have really enjoyed and grown as a result of some of the work we do. I don't know if Mike's on the line who may want to talk a little bit more about these SMEs and how they've worked with us.
Yeah, certainly. So I thought it was useful just to give a bit of example of how we've worked with a number of SMEs in a particular field. Actually, it's quite an interesting field that has developed in the years since i3P started. The future of project management. How do you deal with project management and use data on those project management to drive better decisions? And I think there's some really good examples. And Nodes and Links was a company that came to i3P in the very early days, back in early 2017, when they were looking to capture a load of data from contractors, from clients who they wanted to look at the data of a project profile and how it was actually delivered. And they've gathered huge amounts of data from i3P members and others, most of which was anonymized, didn't need to know who it was from, to look at the whole prospect of how do you build a project management tool that will give you the sort of right result. So they've been able to do some fantastic work on data to look at the tools and say, well, that wall there will take you 3 weeks to build. I know you're saying your project plan is only 2 weeks, but all of the data points to the fact that sort of project's going to take 3 weeks to build, and that's been a really useful and successful tool feeding back information into the process. Flow Ledger and Nodes and Links are two other companies that we've helped in i3P and worked with various members, again looking at different ways of managing the project management and looking at different ways of dealing with it. So Flow Ledger is a really interesting concept of looking at free float in a project and how you allocate that so that you don't build up damaging delays in the project. Some really interesting things on that. Nodes and Links, another interesting company that's develops a completely different way of looking at as its title imagines, the nodes and links of projects to be able to forecast the time delays on projects. So they're just three good examples of how we've been able to help small SMEs get access to large organizations and start to challenge the way some of these large organizations are thinking about some of their processes. Back to you, Will.
Thanks, Mike. Only a couple of slides left, don't worry. So we are, as mentioned, we are about to launch our new platform. The current i3P website is not really fit for purpose anymore. It was exclusive, people couldn't sign up, and with our new operating model, we wanted it to be more inclusive. So it was designed to be around collaborating to share knowledge and information, and also to show our members what's happening on some of our projects, so people can see what's going on. Some people can see some of the outputs. So we're going to be talking about project delivery. Also, we're hoping to tie in with many other knowledge bases like the Major Projects Association and the ICE white papers. So everything can be connected, so that if someone wants to solve a particular problem, rather than us reinvesting in something that's already been done, we can quickly identify this has already been solved by somebody else, here's the information, or actually we can aggregate that information and knowledge together into one ecosystem that allows us to make the best decisions, so that we're not wasting people's money, i.e. clients' money, but also we're adding value to the industry by raising the bar and creating knowledge which is useful. And that's one of the biggest issues we've got in our industry, is that we don't reapply that knowledge effectively. So we're hoping to remove all these barriers to entry by creating an open platform that people can sign up to, contribute to, but also be seen and visible, but also that the industry can then almost stipulate you must check out these solutions before you apply a solution. We've got a long way to go for that, but this will all be launching on the 4th. So hopefully in the future, you will be able to come in and have a look and hopefully get involved. So last slide, how to get involved. So we have those 4 subscription models that we mentioned. We have our SME program that I talked about, that you could that we can sign up to. We have our lunchtime talk sessions. So we either monthly or bi-monthly, depending on how much content there is, we do a talks with sessions where we invite SMEs or industry experts or thought leaders to come and give us some insights into certain challenges or ideas or opportunities. We have those 4 strategic priority themes that I mentioned. So if you have solutions or you are interested in a particular element of some of those areas, get in touch. But also start following us on LinkedIn and Twitter and share your innovations and solutions with us. By doing that, if we don't know what exists out there, we can't help support the supply chain or the industry to improving where we currently are. But at the same time, there are so many people doing similar things. We want to make sure that we pick the best possible solutions. So we can only help if we know what's out there. So get in touch, connect to myself and Mike and anyone else who are part of the KTN team, but also come and check out the i3P website when it is relaunched following the 4th of February. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Will. So there's a few questions. So really open this up. Please feel free to use the hub to post any questions you may have for this session. So the first question is, what is the relevance of i3P for Wales?
I think Phil might be best placed to answer that. Phil?
Yeah, happy to. So the relevance for Wales is quite significant. If you consider the fact that the Transport for Wales have just got their first strategy whilst under their domain being released to the public and consultation at the moment to review now. The directions in which they're proposing for infrastructure, proposing for the public across Wales are quite significant, and there's some great changes and some really good propositions within the document. What the opportunity is there's a lot of change that needs to happen. We've got aging infrastructure in Wales, and there's a lot of opportunity for suppliers and businesses alike to engage and look at different ways of delivering that infrastructure. Different ways, not just of delivering the infrastructure from a physical aspect, but also in terms of business models and how to engage, how to procure these changes and the changes in service. Not just from a construction point of view, and fintech, I'm sure will also be quite a key area to deliver a lot of the opportunity. And that's just the transportation element. There's a lot of work underway with the South Wales Industrial Cluster, which is looking at how we can decarbonise industry as well. There's a rake of information out there, and I'm happy if we're able to, at the end of the chat, Louise, suggest a number of different links to point you to these strategic directions, which will also give you a lead for people you can engage with and discuss all these opportunities.
You might add something.
Thank you.
A little bit extra to that. I think it's infrastructure industry we work in infrastructure industry in i3P because of the ability that most of these contracts are long-term contracts for building new railways and new roads and things like that. So, and the contractors are used to working in collaborative teams. So it's a really useful way of driving some collaboration across those teams that offers some real benefits, and you know, that collaboration is really important in what i3P delivers.
I'll just add to that as well that as Mike says, infrastructure is agnostic. It doesn't matter, you know, the challenges are the same, you know, so why lose out on expertise from Wales, which has slightly different landscapes physically, and bring in experts from, you know, the broader industry to really create the most amount of value. But also to talk to on Phil's point, it's also creating a local ecosystem within Wales, you know, making sure that the local economy is supported with the, you know, the local businesses. But these tier ones, these major big supply chain work in Wales and as well as, you know, globally. So let's not miss out on the opportunity to work with some of the industry leaders and some of the best people in the industry, but also bringing in the local supply chain to add more value to the local economy.
Great, thank you. So I'm a little SME. How would I get involved with i3P, and how much would it cost me?
So a local or small SME, it won't cost you anything. You can either go through the KTN Innovation Exchange program, through the SME program that i3P has, or get in touch with someone from i3P, or sign up to the new portal when it goes live, and sort of sing and dance about what you can do and what problems you can solve. We will be posting all the industry challenges on the new platform. We can have, you know, we will share the information. Everyone will be able to see what some of the projects and some of the bits of work that we are working on. And if you feel you have a solution or can contribute to it, all you have to bring is your skills, your expertise, and your innovation. The whole point of the SME program is so that you don't have to pay. You have access. You know, it won't be guaranteed access. Obviously, you have to make sure that, you know, we want to make sure that you will be able to support the solution, and ultimately we join the dots, and it's up to the clients and the supply chain to bring you along. But we would be more than happy to connect you to relevant people, you know, if your solutions and if your capabilities, you know, bring value to what the client is after. I mean, Mike, Phil, have I missed anything out?
I think I would just add to that. It's, you know, this is important. It's about innovation. It's important. It's about change. The SME program is not a sales shop. It's not a place for people to sell what they've got. It's you've got to be playing part of an innovative change. How you're going to change the industry with your ideas, rather than just, you know, buy my widget because it's better than everybody else's.
I think one thing that I would add is it gives an opportunity to look outside of the smaller fields of the likes of Innovate UK and such. What Innovate UK and the EPSRC bring to industry is a fantastic opportunity for suppliers of all sizes to engage. But whilst there's not specific calls that an SME might be interested in, there's this opportunity to get engaged with the clients and understand those challenges outside of that forum, but within this forum, working with the clients, working with the organizations of all different sizes, really start understanding the content and the strategic focus of those challenges across the industry.
Thanks, Phil. So I guess a follow-on question from that really is, so if a little innovator has got an innovation, why would they share it if they want to make money from their idea? How are they protected?
So one of the key elements of i3P is we don't want people to share their blueprints. We don't want people to share their source code or their, you know, their IP. But what we want to know is know that you can solve the problem. So if you have a widget that solves a particular problem, we don't really need to know what's inside the widget. We just need to know that, you know, put your hand up and say, I can solve that problem. I know how to fix it. That's good enough. Then if you want to prove that, you know, that's up to you to create a collaboration agreement or a commercial agreement with whoever works with you. But we're not after IP. We're not here to create IP. We're not here to commercialize anything. We're here to commercialize things on behalf of people, but we're not here to make a profit or anything like that. We're a non-profit organization. We are just here to support and create value for the industry as a whole, and support the small businesses to get their own value as well. So hopefully that answers the question. We're not here to find out what your solution does or how it works. We just need to know that you know how to solve a problem. So if a client or the industry sets a challenge, I don't know, we want transparent concrete, or we want to be able to track, aliens or whatever. If you've got a technology that can do that, tell us you've got the technology, but you don't have to tell us how it works. Just say, we know how to do that. That's all we need to know. And then after that, NDAs can be signed. You can go off and explore the solution with the supply chain or the client organization, and work it out. And then what we can do is write a case study and say, this worked, and we still keep your IP is protected. We are not interested in stealing your IP. The clients aren't interested in IP. They're public sector organizations. And even the major tier 1 supply chain organizations, they don't have the capacity at the moment to create patents and so on and so forth. So what they want to help deliver change for the client organizations, because that's how the supply chain gets paid. Phil, Mike, have I missed anything?
I think one of the key things is that a lot of change in the construction industry is about digitization. And that, as you say, Will, is it's not how you do it, it's what comes in. The black box can be secret, that doesn't matter. But what you put in, the inputs you put in, and what comes out of that is what the industry wants and needs to transform the way it works. And digitization is a huge challenge for construction. And it's interesting that construction is probably further behind things like the automotive production or other industries, because it is such a fragmented organization, and there's not a lot of space for R&D. So the R&D from the small and even micro organizations are really important to be able to manufacture that change in the industry.
I think the only other thing I would add is that what we can bring in these collaboration opportunities and partnering agreements, as Will alluded to, is an opportunity to expose your solutions to more clients. If I was just pick on my organization as an example, we have a huge range of clients, and a large amount of business development directors and managers that have close relationships with our clients, that are fundamentally employed to help address their challenges of their infrastructure. And if you've got the solution, and it's a bespoke solution, it's not a product that we own. We don't want to, like Will said, it's not about taking your IP or owning any sort of intellectual property. It's about putting your solution in front of the challenge. And if that means that, we set up a partner agreement and we engage with multiple different client opportunities, it's going to give you that opportunity to land and expand and grow more opportunities with neighboring organizations and other clients as well that might be interested in your solutions.
So we'll follow on from that then is, how will I3P fund innovation projects, and does it fund them?
In short, yes, we do. We fund small sort of proof of concept projects as to prove that they work. Furthermore, the client organizations are willing to fund if they see the value. So funding is available ultimately. And also people like our supply chain organization, so who Phil represents, will undoubtedly also fund certain solutions as well if it's in line with some of the challenges that they're trying to fix. So short answer is yes, there is funding available. Not an unlimited pot, but there is funding available. Phil, Mike, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think something I'll add about funding. So, as Will says, the pot is not enormous within I3P, but it's interesting that we, the KTN, we do a lot of the work supporting Innovate UK competitions, and I3P members and their supply chain have been very, very successful in the Transforming Construction rounds that were finished last year. So this is a historic record. But the I3P members and their supply chain, so small SMEs as well, got something like £46 million out of Innovate UK funding for innovative projects, and they do range across a whole range of different things, from some that are quite large organisations collaborating together on projects, but also some very small SMEs. And it's often on those sort of projects where you have an SME with the innovative idea and the big client being the ultimate customer. You can sort of leverage funding out of things like Innovate UK on that basis very well, and do very well in that space. So there's not a huge pot directly from I3P, but there are ways and means of funding things and ideas within it.
I'd say the other thing to add to that, whilst there's not funding directly through I3P, what you get through that relationship development and that partnering with clients, with other organisations, is the opportunity to work with clients who do have funding available. If we consider some of the key organisations such as Highways England, Network Rail, HS2, the water companies, and if we consider what Ofwat have just pledged recently for the addressing waters challenges, there's a huge amount of opportunity outside of Innovate UK for funding, and that can be directly awarded through these clients, through contracts that plenty of the different organisations within I3P have got relationships with. So fundamentally, if you've got a solution to address one of the pain points of our clients, I'm sure any organisation within I3P would be keen to support you and get you engaged with those clients, potentially undertake trials which will be funded by those clients directly. They'll have skin in the game. They'll work with you to make sure that you're addressing their challenge directly. You won't be left alone to try and understand the problem by yourself. They'll support you through the development because they want to see your solution come to fruition on their infrastructure. So there are plenty of opportunities outside of Innovate UK that we can connect you with as well.
How will I3P add value to the subject of net zero?
So this is one of the running themes that obviously has been cascaded from government. We're currently working on that project. The outputs I shared very briefly. We don't have the outputs to that, but the construction challenge, we do have a mandate to reduce to target net zero. And as you can imagine, in our industry, there is a lot of challenge in doing that, just because the nature of the work that we do and the materials we use and the ecosystem in which we work. But if we are constantly driving towards working to, it's a target that we have to achieve. We don't have a choice. It's mandated. And we are working towards it. But if any of you on this live stream today have got ideas or suggestions or see things that the industry is not doing, that it could be doing better. Mike mentioned a few of the SMEs that we work with. They very much work in that field about improving and creating that capability for our journey towards that. So I don't have the answer because it's still a live project. We're still trying to find it. We're striving towards it. I mean, as a supply chain member, Phil, I mean, do you guys have a specific roadmap for that, which is different to what I3P is doing or the industry is doing, or anything you can do to support, my answer or disagree with?
I think, directly, yeah, we've got our roadmap to achieving net zero, and we've got our group carbon manager who leads that work, and she's working directly with a lot of supply chain members, a lot of our client organizations to make sure that we're aligned to their strategic directions as well as bringing a lot of the solutions from those suppliers to development and use on our contracts and on our clients' infrastructure. With regard to the piece of work that I3P are undertaking, the Zero Carbon World project, I mean, it's Costain that are leading on that one, and we've roadmapped a huge amount of work that's been undertaken from across industry, not just in infrastructure, in the foundation industries, in academia, as well as in the governing bodies around the UK. And the amount of work that's been undertaken and the opportunity for people to engage on that has been extensively beneficial, because you get to understand how other people's work can impact your own. You can make focus on specific areas that maybe aren't being addressed very well as a UK PLC. And it makes sure that we're all working towards the same targeted benefits. It's not just, you know, multiple people maybe siloed on the same piece of work. We get to spread the connected effort, if you like, across all of the different areas of work that we should be looking at to enable that zero carbon world.
I think quite a good example that I was slightly involved in, I think it was some piece around low carbon concrete. There's a lot of products being developed in low carbon concrete, but there's a bit of sort of skepticism about how may they work in long-term operations. So I know there's a little project going on in i3P where one of the clients is going to use some low carbon concrete on access roads which are not sort of critical, so they can test loading of low carbon concrete in an access road in a non-critical site, so that you can then look at the results from that to be, you know, potentially use low carbon concrete in the work that Highways England or Network Rail are doing. So it's that kind of collaboration where you can use one piece of work for another and share that outcome with another organization to enable everyone to move forward, is the sort of thing that i3P can offer that program.
And do you think there are opportunities for emerging technologies within the i3P framework?
Absolutely. I think it is, you know, it is key to lots of the things that we're doing. So a good example of sort of emerging technology that we've hosted through Highways England. Highways England have developed a roadmap to semi-autonomous and autonomous plant. And that was a piece of work that they did through Highways England to look at, through i3P, to look at what was available, what was the technology that's coming available, what's already available, and how might they implement that into their program. So emerging tech is a very important part of what i3P does.
And just to second that, I mean, you know, the connected plant work is a huge opportunity, and if people are interested, then more than welcome to get engaged with myself, who sits on that steering group with many other of the stakeholders within i3P. But in addition, there is an opportunity, I believe, for some disruption to take place. I mean, if we consider the amount of work and the amount of change that needs to happen to truly adopt connected plant, there's significant changes in terms of policy, people, and the technology. And if you've got something that is truly, you know, a couple of steps ahead of us in terms of the industry, it's worthwhile engaging now so we can start to trial these technologies and start to understand where they fit in that roadmap. And now's a great opportunity to do that. There will be money spent in the coming months in these areas. So it's a great opportunity to start reaching out and really push the boundaries of construction.
And just to conclude on that point, I mean, it is something that this industry needs. I'm not sure how familiar some of you are about our industry, but we are quite. This industry is quite reticent to change and things it doesn't know. But the whole point of i3P is to create a safe space, almost that sandbox, to try things, just to prove things work, because we won't be able to change the industry if people don't see what is, what is out there. So we do need to, and that's what i3P is here for, is to support the clients and our supply chain to take that brave step to give something a go, so that we can learn and modify and take this industry to another level. But it's it has to be, it's small steps for our industry at the moment, because it is quite it's like trying to change the direction of an oil tanker. It's going to take some while, but if with good people like you on this call, I'm sure we will be able to make a difference. But it does require a bit of effort, and that's where people like Phil, myself, and Mike and Louise are here to support, to try and push that oil tanker a little bit harder.
It's a bit like the Egyptian, isn't it? The story of the Egyptian who, if you took an Egyptian to a modern car plant, he wouldn't have a clue what was going on. But take them to a building site and they go, oh, digging a hole, filling it in again. Yeah, I understand that. It's not changed that much over the thousands of years.
And how do people interact with you? Is there an email address or somewhere that they can communicate and get on board? Who do they get in touch with?
So yes, in due time. So as I mentioned, on the 4th of February, we're launching our new platform. So all the contact details will be available there. In the short term, you can get in touch. My email address is available through the KTN website. Mike's is as well. I'm available on LinkedIn if you wanted to connect with me on LinkedIn. In the short term, that will be the best way until our new platform is live, that you can connect with us directly through the platform.
i3p.org.uk.
Yeah, i3p.org.uk will be the domain name.
Even on the old one, which will be up and running until the 4th, you're capable of sending an email message through that as well. So I will pick those up.
And you're more than welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll respond directly to people. It's not a problem.
There is also direct messaging available through this event hub for this event. So if you find either of the speakers on there and you want to ping them, there's lots of ways to pester these people. And if you can't get hold of them through normal channels, come via KTN and we'll sort you out. And that's it. I think the questions are freezing up. If there's anything that you wanted to add in the final few minutes.
Well, no, just thank you for your time. Thank you for the questions. Very good questions. It was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. The history and what i3p is doing is still relatively new to the industry. You know, i3p has been around for 3 years. It spent the first 18 months, finding itself, configuring itself to make sure that it can have an impact. And we're now very much focused on delivery, on change. So now is a good time to support us to create waves of change. And I will do what I can to support, but we need people like our supply chain and our client organizations to support what we're doing, and it is supported. As I said, i3p is client-led and supply chain fed, and Phil is part of the supply chain, so he sees it from that perspective. I sit on the middle, so I see it from both sides, and I think so far it's really started to grow and get successful.
And a great opportunity now, I think, opening up for SMEs to be involved in i3p as well.
Nothing else from me. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Just going to share the closing video.
Thank you for joining the Emerging Tech Fest. Join us again on our virtual live sessions or watch us on playback anytime, anywhere.